Coming up on this special hurricane edition of Making Moves, we'll take you to the Emergency Operations Center and show you just how the decision to evacuate is made and what you need to know if a hurricane threatens Northeast Florida. Also, how the National Weather Service tracks storms heading our way, and we'll fly into the face of a major storm with the hurricane hunters. Plus, some alternatives to paying high summer gasoline prices. I'm Joyce Morgan Danford. Michael Blaylock and I will have those stories and more next on Making Moves. Welcome to this special edition of JTA Making Moves. I'm Joyce Morgan Danford. Now, normally on this show, we bring you your first look at the latest JTA transportation initiatives. But today, we have a much different focus. Today, we are talking about hurricanes. So let's bring in my co-host, the Executive Director and CEO of the Jacksonville Transportation Authority, Michael Blaylock. Michael, why hurricanes today?
Well, Joyce, if you think about it, Northeast Florida, the first coast, between the months of June and November, our citizens, our families, and the leaders of this area have to be concerned about the potential threat of hurricanes. And so we felt it was really important to our viewers to try to be as proactive as possible in terms of informing them about the different options available to them in preparation for hurricane season.
And that's what we do with this show. We really just try to impart a lot of knowledge and information to the community. But what many people probably don't realize is just that vital role that JTA will be playing and how you really want to make sure that people are safe during these storms. Now, our own Bill Milnes takes us to Storm Central, the Emergency Operations Center downtown, and explains how the JTA and other officials keep us all safe during these emergencies.
Nobody wants to look at the radar and see a large, powerful storm heading for Northeast Florida. But if it does, know that lots of preparation has been done in advance to make sure that the people of this region remain safe during any emergency. But tens of thousands of people here don't have adequate transportation to even get to a safe location. So to avoid the horrors that faced New Orleans during Hurricane Katrina, know that JTA is poised to come to your rescue.
We would turn every single bus stop in the city of Jacksonville into an evacuation bus stop. You show up at a daily bus stop and a JTA bus will be by to pick you up, and even in areas where they don't have routine JTA services, the JTA has worked with the school bus transportation group to identify school bus transportation sites in those other areas of the community that we can pick those people up. The goal is nobody left behind.
But part of the problem that led to the disaster in New Orleans is that many people didn't want to leave their pets behind.
I take her with me. I can't leave her. I can't even be without her one night, so.
Area emergency officials have a plan for that too.
Working with JTA to set up parameters to transport pets. Maybe we can't transport all the pets on the buses where they aren't safely in carriers, but we have even means of working with the animal care and control to come by the site right after the bus and pick up the pet and transport people and the pets to pet-friendly shelters.
JTA's participation extends far beyond providing emergency transportation to the shelters. Back at the EOC, other JTA employees are also hard at work providing logistical support to the evacuation effort.
Employees of JTA in the back of this facility sit and begin the hard work of coordination with the sheriff's office to say these are the routes, these are where we're routing buses, and we're routing the Jax Connect shuttles to the specific points that need to do the pickup and ensure that people are moving.
At the Emergency Operations Center downtown, Bill Milnes, JTA Making Moves.
Now, as we just saw in our story on the EOC, the heads of nearly every major area agency, including the JTA, is involved in some way in the decision-making process during these critical situations. Now, Michael, like you just said, JTA's, the role is evacuation. It's a vital role of transportation, but you know, that's not an easy role.
Definitely not. You're talking about the possibility of moving tens of thousands of people in preparation for a hurricane. The interesting thing about the EOC Center is a central command, and that allows the mayor and the mayors of the beaches to be in one centralized area with all of the major players, where decisions are made pretty fast, and it gives us a great opportunity to be really efficient in getting those communications out. And so our role in this entire network is not only just our regular citizens, Joyce, but you're talking about people with special needs that have special requirements in terms of transportation, even to the point that you mentioned earlier about pets.
Right, and as we said, that was just a major concern in New Orleans, that some people just, you know, I'm not going to leave because I'm not going to leave my pets. Pets are basically their companions.
Right, and that's what I meant earlier about the preparation that's involved, and then the lessons that are still being learned as a result of Hurricane Katrina. There is a tremendous bond between people and their pets, and it's a consideration that we really had to give some thought to.
Absolutely. And you know, here's Mike Miller to tell us about a new JTA initiative that should actually ease some of that confusion during these hectic evacuations.
Sitting on the bus while you travel to your destination doesn't have to be wasted time. In fact, the JTA is hoping riders on 10 specially outfitted buses use that time to watch some important videos that will soon be available. No, it's not Seinfeld or Wheel of Fortune or even the latest blockbuster movie. In fact, it's much more important than that. The information that will be flowing from these screens could save you and your family's life in an emergency.
Clips about emergency issues, emergency information they need to know, contact information. We'll be able to do Amber Alerts and actually show a picture of the child's face on the screen to help that process. Also, we are in coordination with JSO and Fire and Rescue in Jacksonville that they can use this system to provide information to our customers.
If we can affect the ridership of JTA and have them better prepared and create plans for their families and their preparedness level increases, that's going to be a burden off the rest of the city that we can take some benefit out of.
The emergency information videos will be playing on the same buses that JTA will use as part of its evacuation response.
You know, what can you take? Who do you need to go see at that particular shelter? So this program can be modified based on the event and the situation as needed on the fly.
Information on bus route changes and other key JTA information will also be shown on the video screens. I'm Mike Miller, JTA Making Moves.
Now, this program is being funded through a grant from Homeland Security and should really help educate JTA riders before any major catastrophe actually happens. Now, you know, it's really tremendous when you think about that, this whole new system that you have going on. And you said that it's a trial.
Yeah, it's a pilot, and it's very similar to what you see on airplanes, you know, with the little video. And it's just an opportunity to use to inform people precisely in terms of what's going on. It's starting out as an emergency tool for information management and communication, but the long-term thought is to utilize this system as a way to continuously inform people about different options that we provide at JTA.
And there is just one more way to get that information out. Now, how many monitors do you have?
Well, we have 10 that are under pilot right now and throughout the system, and what we're going to do is try to get feedback from our customers and from our operators in terms of the usefulness of it, and gauge that information and then look at trying to expand the entire system based on those comments.
Okay, sounds good. Now, when a hurricane is looming, area leaders rely on the National Weather Service office here in Jacksonville to not only track the storm, but determine its destructive capabilities. As we learned in this report, when it comes to severe weather, nothing should be left to chance.
Over 24 meteorologists work at this isolated building not far from the Jacksonville International Airport. It's the National Weather Service office, and while its location may be off the beaten path, the importance of what goes on here cannot be understated. In times of severe weather, like the hurricanes that haunt Florida from June through November each year, it's the people here at the National Weather Service that keep us informed, and in some cases, keep us alive.
When a storm starts to get within range of land, that's when the local National Weather Service office takes over, and we're the ones that forecast the specific impacts on our local area. We're the ones that will issue the inland hurricane watches or warnings for our area. We're the ones that will be telling you when we expect the winds to start, how strong they might be, how much rain we might get, what the storm surge potentially could be across our area.
Steve Litro is the meteorologist in charge here at the Jacksonville office. According to Litro, sometimes it's not the hurricanes or the storm surge that can cause the most damage, but instead, it's the tornadoes that can sometimes spin off those storms. That is exactly what happened here in Jacksonville just 4 years ago.
Hurricane Francis, Hurricane Jean, Hurricane Charlie, and so on got all of the attention. But for us here in Jacksonville, probably one of the more significant storms was actually Tropical Storm Bonnie, which is just a weak tropical storm that made landfall out in the Panhandle. However, one of the outer bands spun off an F2 tornado, which did quite a bit of damage on the west side of Jacksonville.
So when is the best time to prepare for that next big storm? Well, the experts say right now.
When we think of when people need to start taking action for a storm, really it's before the season even starts.
In North Jacksonville, Hunter Livingston, JTA, making moves.
Long before any potential hurricane approaches the Florida coastline, the National Hurricane Center has been monitoring that storm for days and relaying information back to our local National Weather Service office for analysis. Now, the information gathered by the center's hurricane hunters is vital in predicting the storm's strength and possible path. First Coast News anchor Deanna Finney takes us up with the hurricane hunters as they check out what would later become Hurricane Floyd.
This is the plane that will take the NOAA hurricane hunters above and around Hurricane Floyd. It's a Gulfstream G4, and it's designed to get to the storm fast and at a high altitude. The 9-hour mission takes off from Miami. Less than 20 minutes into the flight, the hurricane hunters get their first glimpse of the powerful storm named Floyd.
When you get like this, you can really kind of see the size of the storm. You realize how large it really is. It's huge.
While the pilots maneuver through the outer bands of Floyd, the rest of the crew is busy collecting data on the storm.
Wherever you see this puffy white area, that's the upper level outflow on the top of the storm. And hurricanes are in, up, and out.
Their mission? To try and figure out where the storm is headed so they know who to warn.
The G4, for this particular mission anyway, does not fly through the center of the storm. It flies the periphery of the storm. And between yesterday's flight and today's, they're extremely important flights to determine when is this storm going to make the turn to the north.
Right now, we're at the closest point we will get on this mission to the eye of the storm, less than 160 miles out. And this is where the NOAA hurricane hunters will collect some of the most important data yet on the intensity of this storm. Halfway into the mission, the concern grows as the meteorologists learn just how powerful and dangerous this storm is.
This has the potential, if it hits land at this strength, of absolutely doing inconceivable damage. The importance of what we're doing up here is to give as much information as possible to the National Hurricane Center to determine where the storm is going to go, to properly warn people to get out of harm's way.
The hurricane hunters fly in and around hundreds of storms, but they say every storm is different. And as the sun goes down, Floyd shows his strength and uniqueness. This brilliant red streak is the sun shining through the edge of the hurricane, something these hurricane hunters have never seen before.
I was on the ground during Hurricane Andrew. I've penetrated eye walls of hurricanes over 100 times, and people used to always wonder how I could do that. I said, well, I'd much rather be in the plane than on the ground.
Still to come, tired of paying astronomical prices to fill up your gas tank? We'll tell you how you can beat the pain of the pump. Plus, JTA rolls out a new trolley service. We'll show you where. But first, here's a look at the complete emergency evacuation shelter list. Find the shelter that is closest to where you live. Welcome back to Making Moves. As if dealing with the threat of hurricanes all summer long wasn't bad enough, our wallets are taking a beating thanks to the constantly rising cost of fuel. Nearly every day, a new record high gas price is hit. And just the last year alone, prices have risen over $1 a gallon. According to the latest figures by AAA, the average price at the pump for a gallon of regular gas in Florida was $4.08. Just a month ago, it was $3.78, and a year ago, $3 even. The price of diesel has skyrocketed even more. The same gallon of diesel that cost you $2.89 1 year ago is now $4.80. The worst part is that prices are expected to continue to climb to even higher record prices. Now, it may seem like there is nothing else that you can do but just dig deeper into your wallet and fork over more of your hard-earned cash to the oil companies. But as Making Moves' Bill Milner shows us, if you are willing, you do have other options when it comes to beating the high cost of gas.
We thought it was bad when prices at the gas pump crossed $2, but it kept going up. $2.50, $2.75, $3. It had to slow down, we thought, yet every day the prices at the pump kept changing. Higher and higher they went. We never imagined it could reach $4. It just couldn't happen, not here in the U.S., but here we are. Now the experts tell us $5 gas could be a reality by summer's end. It's sure enough to give drivers the blues.
What I used to spend on the kids, I have to put towards the gas now.
It makes you want to combine all your trips. Yeah. Instead of just going out for one special thing.
But you as a consumer don't have to be a victim of these higher fuel prices. You have choices, and you might be surprised at how much you can actually save. Over 10 million passengers ride a JTA bus each year. There are routes all over the city every single day. These riders are saving a fortune on gasoline, so you may want to ask yourself, why aren't you?
Public transportation is something that's more on everybody's mind now.
Here's a look at how much you could save just by using public transit for work 5 days a week. According to a Sperling's Best Places survey done in 2006, the average Jacksonville area commuter uses 3 gallons of gas each day. At today's prices, that's $60 for the 5-day work week. Throw in money for oil and other upkeep and the cost is even higher. Not to mention that in today's society, most households have at least 2 vehicles, so those costs are actually doubled. Meanwhile, the cost of traveling by JTA bus on most routes is just $10 a week round trip. So you do the math. You can continue to pay $60, $70, maybe even $100 a week for gas per vehicle, or you could do what more and more people both here and around the country are doing, and that's use public transit.
If I had to go anywhere from 10, 20, 30 plus miles to get to my job, I would definitely look to find someone to share that cost, absolutely.
Now we know that public transit doesn't work for everyone. Depending on your daily work schedule or your home or work location, riding the bus may not be convenient for you, but you should know that you still have options.
The First Coast Metropolitan Planning Organization has special carpooling and van pooling programs that may be better suited to your needs.
We have seen a tremendous increase in interest just in the last couple months. Carpooling is for anywhere from 2 to 4 people who are willing to share a ride coming from a same general location and going to a same general work location. And it's a wonderful way to save lots and lots of money.
So don't let the pain of the pump bury you in gasoline anguish. Know that you do have options. Your wallet might just thank you. In Jacksonville, Bill Milnes, JTA Making Moves.
For more information on riding JTA, just click onto our website at www.jtafla.com or call customer service at 630-3100. If you would like more information on carpooling or van pooling programs, just visit www.firstcoastmpo.com. Now, Michael, Bill showed us that we're really not powerless when it comes to kind of taking control of this whole situation at the pump. Mass transit is a good option, carpools, van pools. What else are you seeing people do?
Well, ride the bus, quite frankly.
Ride the bus.
That's a good start. But what we're seeing, Joyce, is double-digit increases on several of our routes where people are calling more. We're seeing more interaction with our customer service, our online trip planner system where people are calling, inquiring, getting information on how to use the system. So I think that this is all part of that movement of trying to redesign the system to make it more effective, to give people better access to use the system. And so, I mean, it is there available to the public, and we're seeing the results of what this gas prices is causing this community.
And I think people are starting to be more proactive when it comes to taking their own destiny in their hands.
Well, and then the other side of it is change sometimes can be a bit painful, and it's very painful now in terms of paying at the gas pump. So people are finding alternatives, and we're there to provide it for them.
And one of our alternatives, of course, is trolleys.
Oh, and the trolley, that's another opportunity. You know, the Riverside trolley has been a huge success. And as you mentioned earlier, we'll be talking about the next trolley that we'll be introducing.
That's right. This summer season got rolling early as JTA and the authority launched a new Riverside trolley service on May the 5th. Now, since that launch, hundreds of people a day have been riding the new trolleys to get to 5 Points, the Jacksonville Landing, and every part in between. Jacksonville City Councilman Don Redmond and Economic Development Director Ron Barton were on hand as the authority launched its new Riverside trolley service. Barton says this new service will play a vital role in keeping our core neighborhoods connected.
One of the advantages we have as a downtown is our near-end neighborhoods are very strong. They have great consumer buying power. So our ability to connect San Marco, Riverside, Avondale, Springfield, all of those neighborhoods to our downtown, and to basically link them to our downtown and our downtown to those neighborhoods is going to make it for a stronger downtown.
The trolley's maiden voyage saw dozens of excited passengers, including Andy Struth, who boarded the trolley downtown on his way to the Riverside Avenue YMCA for a workout.
You know, the Riverside's a nice area. It's a very beautiful area. There's a lot of things, restaurants and so forth, and I think it's a good idea.
Just like Struth, passengers have been lining up for a ride to dozens of local restaurants, a trip to the supermarket, and to run errands at any number of businesses.
It was wonderful. It's air conditioned, it's nice and comfortable, open. I loved it.
Wanda Smith was one of the day one riders. She works at Fidelity National and read about the new Riverside trolley in her employee newsletter. She used the trolley to go to the Riverside Publix.
It was great. Everybody was cheerful and happy, and I didn't lose my parking place in the garage, and it was cheaper than the gas to drive up here.
Especially now with the gas prices and all, that if you need to take a run out here between those hours, 10:30 and 2:30, that's a way to do it, public transportation.
Yeah, I really feel that it's going to bring a lot of people back here because we have countless complaints that, hey, the parking is so bad, but now they don't even have to drive, so we feel like they're going to really take advantage of the trolley.
Many local eateries along the route reported increases in sales since the trolley rolled into their neighborhood.
My lunch crowd, as I already saw today, picked up about 15% than what it's been doing during my daily lunch. I almost ran out of spots. I had to shuffle a couple of tables around, so it did definitely help.
The Riverside trolley is averaging over 400 riders per day. The service runs weekdays from 10:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Each ride costs 50 cents, except for our senior citizens over 60 who do ride for free. Now, the JTA is now taking its trolley act to the beaches all summer long. The brand new Beaches Trolley service kicks off June 27th. This is a weekend-only service starting at 6 o'clock each Friday night. Trolleys will run approximately every 15 minutes between the South Beach Shopping Center, where JTB meets A1A, and the town center at Atlantic and Neptune Beach. Jacksonville City Councilman Art Graham, who represents the beaches area, calls the new service a win-win for everyone.
You had trolleys that were here, they weren't being used, weren't being utilized, and then at the beach, because it is an entertaining area for the county as a whole, and actually just not for Duval, but for Nassau and St. John's, you know, it's a magnet that everybody's coming down to. So I think it was a perfect opportunity to see getting people on the trolley and getting people riding around.
Now here are the hours for the new Beaches Trolley service: Friday 6 p.m. to 2 a.m., Saturday 10 a.m. to 2 a.m., and Sundays from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. The Beaches Trolley service is free for everyone and will run through the Labor Day weekend. Now, Michael, actually there's so much excitement when you think of the Beaches Trolley and just being able to get down there and get back and just enjoy the beach.
Well, it's something that we've desired to do for really a long time, and Councilman Art Graham has been a really great advocate for getting that service launched. And so he's in the process of working with us and looking for some sponsors to try to make it a long-term service. But again, as you mentioned, it's basically a weekend. But they have a lot of challenges at the beach, you know, considering parking, the restrictions on parking availability. So we have a lot of activity at the beach. They have festivals, all sorts of activities. And so this is just another way to complement and get people familiar, more familiar with transportation options.
And then that means that even though it's a pilot program, now the future, what's next?
Well, I'll give you an example. Riverside Trolley, it was a pilot, and it's running for 4 hours with 400 people a day using that service. It's a lunchtime service. It was designed specific for that market. So the beach, we're hopeful that the beach will pretty much generate the kind of ridership and participation that we will make it a long-term service.
And you know what? I think that once people know it's there, that's half the battle right there. Just that knowledge that it's there, it's available for you. You can just jump on, go to the beach, have fun at the beach, and then come back home.
Yeah, and particularly without a bus schedule, so they can know that the service is going to be running continuously. So it's a good service, I think.
I guess what we said before, a win-win situation.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully we got everyone really prepared for this hurricane season. You now know how you can all save some money when it comes to transportation costs, Michael, and of course the wonderful trolley services that we have running this summer. JTA is certainly involved in all kinds of areas, doing all kinds of things that people probably didn't realize, and you know what? We probably don't even think about it until we bring it up. So any final thoughts before we go?
Well, I think you just hit it on the head. This was just an opportunity to inform people early, to start thinking about the hurricane season and preparing for that. And the more proactive we are, the less likely we are to have the kind of problems that people have when they're not prepared. So it just, we hope that the viewers would appreciate the fact that we've tried to take the lead in trying to present this information as early as possible. But they will be getting all sorts of information from a whole host of other agencies about the hurricane season.
Absolutely, and those gas prices, boy.
Well, our doors are open, and come ride with us.
Oh, I like that. Come ride with us. And that wraps up this special edition of Making Moves. We'll see you again in a few short weeks with another brand new show. For Michael Blaylock and the entire Making Moves team, I'm Joyce Morgan Danford. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on Making Moves.
Thank you.